Could solar energy be the answer to Zimbabwe's electricity problems? We take a look at the global ivory trade ban. Will lifting it mean an economic boom for some African countries? We find out. Plus, more news and views from around Africa. Jambo Sawubona, welcome. I'm Ropiwa Madzana, filling in for Tumelo Mututwane. This is #Africa. Zimbabwe has awarded former Eskom acting CEO Matshela Koko a deal to build a solar power plant in Gwanda. The Zimbabwe Energy Regulatory Authority says Koko, through his company Matshela Energy, has been granted a license to construct, own, operate and maintain a 100-megawatt solar plant. Zimbabwe has been facing severe power outages, and the government expects the plant to ease some of the pressure on electricity supply. And to give us more on this deal, we are joined by the man himself, Matshela Energy's Matshela Koko. Many thanks for your time. Let's perhaps start with the viability of solar energy in terms of easing power supply pressures where we're seeing in the likes of Zimbabwe. How viable is renewable energy such as solar power?
It's extremely viable. The Zimbabwe electricity system is constrained, which means it does not have enough power to meet the demand. Zimbabwe load sheds 18 hours a day. So if you are lucky, the power you don't have the power the whole day, comes back at 10 in the evening, at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's gone. We want to build 100 megawatt of solar power with storage, 240 megawatt hours of storage within 12 months to ease the burden of electricity supply for Zimbabweans.
Just for some of us who may not understand the technicalities of megawatts, and so when you say 100 megawatts of power with 200 megawatts of storage, what exactly are you referring to in terms of supply and the reach?
The Zimbabwean economy system, the demand for Zimbabwe is around 1,400 megawatts, and we're adding 100 megawatts of that. It sounds small, but it's big. So it's not small. It will make a big difference. Zimbabwe imports from Eskom in South Africa 50 megawatts, and we're building double that. And that's a significant game changer for Zimbabwe. We think we can do within the next 12 months.
I'm sure you've gone and done your due diligence in terms of the building of the project and the fact that you're saying it's going to take you about 12 months to complete. Talk us through some of the perceived issues you might face in terms of infrastructure and having to introduce new forms of infrastructure to make sure that this project goes live when it's supposed to.
The biggest hurdle for us was getting the generation license from the regulator in Zimbabwe. We have received that generation license on the 17th of July. We have signed the power purchase agreement. Those are the two biggest issues. We're heading towards financial close, and we think we will achieve that within weeks. And our next target will be breaking ground and having boots on the ground by the end of August. And that's our target. We think the worst is behind us. We want to work. We think we have the support of all the stakeholders in Zimbabwe. And we think Zimbabweans want power. They want it yesterday, and we are there to partner with them so that we are able to impact positively the challenges that they have. We're very excited. It's a monument. It's a 20-year commitment, and it's $250 million. We think that it's what Zimbabweans want, and it's going to be a game changer.
I just want to draw on some best practice globally. Renewable energy is something that's been accepted a lot more globally than it has on many parts of the African continent. In terms of the maintenance and the upkeep of an infrastructure project such as this one, where are you drawing on best practice-wise, and really where can countries like South Africa learn from when it comes to breaking down the monopoly that is Eskom and providing alternative sources of power?
To the contrary, the South African IPP project is regarded globally as a leader. So we are in South Africa leading in the renewable energy space. Many people look at South Africa, they copy us. So we're taking those practices into Zimbabwe. I've been in Eskom. I've implemented similar projects in Zimbabwe. We've brought in the team, the best in the crop. The best guys that have done this on both the solar PV side and the battery storage side, our team, pound for pound, we believe is the best globally. And we will deliver in Zimbabwe.
And why solar? Why not wind or hydropower? Or are these alternative forms of energy that you will be introducing at a later stage?
Zimbabwe is committed to hydro. They've signed a recent agreement with GE on the Batoka project. It's a big project, so it's going ahead. There's the potential for wind is limited in Zimbabwe. Solar is one of the best. So solar is committed to wind. Zimbabwe is committed to solar. Zimbabwe is committed to hydro. Zimbabwe is committed to a balanced energy mix. So that's how you do it. The aim is not to discriminate on technologies, but to deploy the technologies according to the cost options and decarbonize the electricity sector, but drive the cost down. And we think that Zimbabwe is on that trajectory.
This the cost for the producer or yourselves that are instilling this project, or for the consumer who's buying the electricity?
Forget everybody else. Forget everybody else. Pretend they don't exist. It's about the consumer.
Right.
It must be total focus on the consumer. We need to give the consumer the power supply he needs, and the quality must be right at an affordable tariff. And that's what we bring into Zimbabwe.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. I've been speaking there to Matshela Energy's Matshela Koko.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now let's take a look at stories making headlines from across the continent. 4 students and 1 adult were shot dead when security forces broke up a student protest in the Sudanese city of Al Obeid on Monday. Residents say gunfire rang out as teenagers rallied against fuel and bread shortages. Opposition groups have called for a nationwide protest in response to the killings. The ruling military council says there must be immediate accountability for the incident. The funeral for the students was held on Tuesday. Ethiopia has planted 350 million trees in a day. This in an effort to combat climate change and desertification. It is yet to be announced whether the initiative has broken the world record for the number of trees planted in a single day. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed led the Green Campaign and gave government employees time off to take part in the tree planting initiative. According to the United Nations, Ethiopia's forest coverage declined from 35% of total land in the 1900s to just over 4% in only 100 years. Staying with the environmentally friendly stories, one of the world's top polluters has pledged to clean up its act. Senegal is set to crack down on polluters with a new law, police intervention and fines. The Senegalese government has admitted that it failed to apply the law in 2015, but hopes this time will be different. While many are skeptical, saying it will take a lifetime to change people's habits, Greenpeace says it's important to not only rely on individuals for change, but for governments to also take charge. When we return, we take a look at the global ivory trade ban, and a Sierra Leone school is challenging a law banning pregnant girls from attending classes. More on that in just a moment.